Hello everyone. Today we are going to be bank strap searching through $1,000 in $5 bills. And you may notice that the paper straps say $100 each on them. Just ignore that. Each pile is $500 worth of fives. So we're going to be bank strap searching through each one of these piles. And what I'm going to be looking for are older style $5 bills, star notes, cool serial numbers, and any errors. And so I'll fast forward through this portion where I go through the pile, and then I'll bring it back to real time to find out what cool things I might find. All right, I am done searching through that first strap of $5 bills and really excited that I have found a star note. So this is really cool. It's exactly the type of bill I'm on the hunt for. Yes, it is a bit weathered, and the bottom border here, you can see it has some pretty heavy creasing. There's some what appears to be water staining damage on the back here on the middle and on the left side. But nonetheless, it is a star note, and for me personally, I really enjoy finding these and collecting them. Now, if I'm fortunate enough to find any more star notes in the next strap, I'm gonna add those to this star note. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna look up the serial number to see how rare it is. We'll find out the run size and how many were printed in this series. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and move on to these next couple of bills, which are also really cool finds because it's another style of bill I'm on the hunt for, which are the older style $5 bills. Now, what currently is in circulation for the newest style of bill is going to look like this. And these came in on the series 2006. And prior to that were this style of bill. And the first series was this 1999, and then also the 2003. So I found both of those series right here. Prior to the 99, it was a different style of bill. Those are really cool to find as well, even more cool than these. And then prior to those, very similar style bill, just the really big distinguishing factor is going to be that it has the red stamp on the bill. Those are really killer to find, but also super hard to find. As far as these are concerned, I still think they're cool. I do collect them. However, I'm a little bit more selective when it comes to this style of bill because they're a little bit easier to find than, let's say, the style that's prior to the 99. So for this bill in particular, yeah, it is quite weathered. The corners got some heavy creasing in it. The bill behind it, this bottom border is kind of beat up and creased, and this left corner is pretty mangled as well. Now, what I end up doing is off camera, I'm gonna go through my collection of this style of $5 bill and just compare it against what I have. And if so happens to be where these are in better condition than some of the other ones I have, then I'll end up replacing those with these. If these aren't as good of a condition, then I'm just gonna go ahead and probably pass on these just because at the moment they look pretty beat up. But anyway, still cool finds. So I'm going to go ahead and move along to this next $5 bill. And what we have here is what I consider a semi-low serial number. We've got the 3 zeros in the front here. And then the number is only at 11,912. So it's getting fairly low. What I like to see when I really get excited to start holding on to them is at least 4 zeros in front. I do from time to time hold on to the 3-0 serial number, but what I start paying attention to more, being more critical about, is the condition. There has to be a reason to really hold on to it for me. This one's got some heavy folding on the corner, creasing on the top border, and just overall, you know, it's weathered, it's seen better days, but it's kind of borderline for me, considering it is on the low end of the semi-low serial number. So I might have to give it some consideration if I want to, put it in my collection. But just pointing out things that I do keep watch out for. So we'll go ahead and set that one aside. Move on to this bill. Now this bill is pretty cool because you can see here on the serial number, it's got some pretty heavy inking on it. And if I can get it up close enough, you can see that it's not very crisp, the outline of the numbers. There's a lot of what looks like little bleeding dots around the numbers. And then I turned it over and noticed that it actually bled through the back of the bill on the serial number. So that's not typical to see. And I think that's pretty cool. So something I'll definitely be inclined here to hold on to. Moving on to this next pile of bills. These aren't going to be something I'm holding on to. I'm just merely pointing out things I watch out for. And in terms of the serial number, you can see on the beginning and end, it's got the same number, the number 3. So that's referred to as bookends. And that could also be multiple digits in front and on the back matching. So it could be 3-5 and then 3-5. That would also be a bookend. Personally, I don't typically hold on to the bookends unless it's at least 3 digits. So if it were the 3-5-7 and then the matching 3-5-7 on the end, I'd be more inclined to hold on to something like that. To hold on to something where it only has the single digit or the double digit bookends, there has to be something going on with the bill for me. And it then just in addition might have those bookends on it. But nonetheless, I'm just pointing these out. You can see here, I found quite a few. You've got the 2 5s, and then you've got the 0s, and then you've got the 4s, and then the 3s. So just in that strap of 100 bills, I found, it looks like 5. So fairly common, as you can see. That's why they don't excite me a ton unless, like I said, there's at least a 3-digit bookend for me personally. But just, again, pointing something out I look for. And now in these last couple of bills, these are referred to as gas pump errors or odometer errors. And the reason being is you can see that the last digit on the serial number, on the lower serial number, that 3, it shifted up higher. And you can also see that on this upper serial number where it kind of looks like it dips in the middle and comes back up. So those are things I watch out for. It's not overly severe, but it's noticeable. So the more severe it is, the more inclined I am to hold on to it. This one, I wanted to come back to it and point out that this one also had single digit bookends. So that would actually make 6, I found, within the strap. But considering it also has this gas pump, that adds some more flair to the bill, and it piques my interest a little bit more. The bill is not in the best of shape by any means. The gas pump error, it's not significant, but it is noticeable. So I'll mull it over if I want to hold on to this bill. It is kind of beat up though. I do see it's starting to tear on the side here, and the bottom is really crumpled and kind of mangled. So if it were to have more of a severe gas pump, I think I'd be more inclined to hold on to it. But again, I'm just pointing out a couple of things I found in the strap that I do watch out for. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set those aside and bring in this next strap, go through that same process where I fast forward through the search, and then I'll bring it back to real time to find out what cool things I may come across. All right, I am done searching through that second strap of $5 bills, and unfortunately there were no star notes, no older style bills, not as many cool finds, but what I did find we'll start with here, and it's going to be this serial number, which is going to be referred to as a scattered ladder, or otherwise sometimes called a broken ladder. And the reason being is you can see those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the 7 repeats itself twice. That's no big deal with the repeat, as long as you can take those numbers and arrange them chronologically and they form a ladder without any breaks in it. So if you arrange them, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And there we have that scattered ladder for you. So I do collect these from time to time. The things I watch out for, though, is I like to have a little bit more flair in the serial number. Something else going on with it. Another coolness factor to it. This particular bill doesn't have that. So then the next thing I like to look at is definitely the condition of the bill. So if there's not much flair in the serial number other than the scattered ladder, I really like to find a clean bill without folds in it and creases and just not looking weathered like this one. So this really doesn't hit the mark on any of those levels for me. So most likely I'll just pass on this one. But I do like to always check against the bills I have in my collection just to make sure that this might not be in better condition than another bill I might have in the collection already. So anyway, just pointing out a scattered ladder, and we're gonna go ahead and set that one aside and move on to this bill. And here we have 8 unique digits in the serial number. Now, I normally don't hold on to the bills with 8 unique digits. I come across them frequently enough that they're not really a big deal to me. However, just as with the scattered ladders, I always like to check to see if there's anything else cool going on with the serial number that might give the bill a little bit more flair. And if it's not in the serial number, maybe something going on with the bill itself, or maybe the bill is in really nice condition, unlike this one. It's got some pretty heavy folding on it and crinkled corners. So this wouldn't be something I'm really inclined to hold on to, but just pointing out something again that I do watch out for. Now moving on to this next bill. This is going to be an example of misaligned borders, sometimes referred to as a miscut. And you can see that the top border is more narrow than the bottom border. Usually about the level where I start to take notice is if the opposite border is about 50% or less the width of the other border. So in this case, yeah, it's probably about 50%. The more narrow it is, the more sought after I find them to be. And so this one's kind of, borderline for me to where I would start considering it to put into my collection. So if it's got less of a misalignment, then I really need more happening with the bill, either in much better shape or something, going on with the serial number to make it a little bit more cool. This one does have the single digit bookends, but that still for me isn't a crazy combination to really give it the oomph that it needs to put in the collection for myself. But by all means, this could do it for some collectors. It just all depends upon what you're looking for. Normally though, the more narrow the border is, then I give it some leeway on the bill because I'm really more focused on that border at that point, and that's really where the coolness factor, the collectability of it's coming for me. So even though the bill might be beat up at that point, if there's really a small narrow border on it, I'm going to probably look past that and put that into the collection. So this one for now, I'll probably pass on it, but again, just pointing out something I do look for. Now, moving on to this bill, I just pulled this out. It's not something I'm going to hold on to, but it was one of those semi-low serial numbers, just like we had in the last strap, where we had those 3 zeros, except this one's 89,000. The first one we found was 11,000. And, but again, it's kind of semi-cool, but the bill's really beat up. So I'm just going to be passing on this one. Just wanted to point it out. And then on these last, what do we have? 1, 2, 3 bills. These are just going to be some examples of that gas pump error. And you can see on this upper serial number that number 2, that's sitting up pretty high. That's pretty noticeable. Going to this next one, you can see upper serial number, that last 3, that one's sitting a little bit low and fairly noticeable. And then on this last bill, you've got the number 2 at the end of the serial number. You can see that that one's sitting pretty low. They're not crazy examples of the gas pump, but they're noticeable for sure. And this one probably catches my eye the most, and the bill is the cleanest, least amount of folding and damage to it. So I might throw something like this into my collection. And then like always, if I come across a bill that has a similar gas pump error or a similar serial number as an example, and it's in better condition, I just end up replacing them down the road. So anyway, that wraps up the 2 straps of $5 bills. Now we're gonna check out the rarity of that star note we found in the first strap. Okay, time to find out how rare this star note is. So I've already got this pre-typed into the My Currency Collection website. So I'm just gonna take note of the first few digits of the serial number. So it's a ME0054 2013. So we have the 2013 ME0054 7468. So yeah, that's all correct. And it looks like we have a pretty awesome star note on our hands. The run size, only 640,000, and total printed, only 640,000. So that means there was only 1 run of these. And you can see here on the scale, the arrow's right in the middle, so that rarity level's creeping up for the total printed. And then the run size, that arrow is also creeping up for the rarity level. And down here is just a little bit more info, run number 1. And you can see here, 1 run only in this series. So when you're looking for those rare star notes, this is what you're looking for. Anything around 640,000 and less, and then also only having 1 run. So this is fitting that profile really nicely. The only thing that would give it a little bit more oomph is if the run size and total printed, if that were even lower than this, and if the bill was older note. This is a 2013 series, so it's not super old by any means, but this is still a really, really cool find. I'm really happy to have come across this. So this one's definitely going in my collection. And as always, thank you so much for watching.